beautiful, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, hi, how are you? My name is Alexisjayda and I do makeup tutorials, story times, unboxings, and a bunch of stuff. So make sure you're subscribed. Notification shout out goes to the Harrisons. Thank you so much for your love and support. I really appreciate it. Te quiero mucho. And if you want to be part of the notification squad, all you have to do is just like the video, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and when I go live, comment down below and you can possibly be the next notification shout out. My eyes, I feel like I was like this because I just put on eye drops and they freaking burn, but they burn good. So today is Easter. Happy Easter, everybody. So I have a story time for Easter because this took place on Easter Day. And it has to do with the Nanny series. I know it has been very highly requested to continue the Nanny series, and it makes me really happy that you guys really like the Nanny series. Quick question, do you guys want me to continue to tell you up until I left, or do you want me just to tell you why I left? I feel like I can tell you guys so like it makes sense, because then you guys would be like, wait, what? You know, but let me know, because I know there's some who are like very impatient and just want to know like, what was it? Like, what made you leave? And then there's some where you guys are like, nah, I want all the tea, every little single detail. So let me know down below what you prefer. Everything I will be using will be linked down below as well. And let's get started. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do for my makeup. I'm gonna try and go dramatic, but I kind of want to like not, because it's Easter and I'm just like, I just wanted to look cute, you know? So I don't know what I'm gonna do. This took place Easter, me and Sam. We're still hot and cold. We're not really like buddied up. So we're just like, you know, we're not cool like the other side of the pillow. Not like that yet, all right? So I was supposed to spend Easter with the ex, but him and his moms, they wanted to go somewhere, do a little something, you know, date each other. So I was like, you know what, it's cool, whatever. Baltimore needed help with Mrs. Peach to plan something cute for the kids. So I was cool with it. I was like, all right, you know, got a little cute, straightened my hair with the iron. I was like, all right, like I'm gonna make the best of it. Because I had days where I would be like, oh, why me? You know, of course, like I freaking hated the situation that I was in. And a few of you have asked me like, how come you just didn't want to go into the system? I had friends who were in the system and they were like, Lex, you don't want to be up in here, girl. No one's gonna want to adopt a teenager, period. I have been abused. So she was telling me that like that does happen in there. So I wasn't gonna risk it. I was like, nah, I don't want to end up in the system. Sometimes it plays better for others than it, you know. And I was like, I ain't gonna try and gamble because my luck isn't the best. And I just don't want to do that. And I feel like if I would have gone into the system, I would have never seen my brothers like at all. I feel like I wouldn't have seen them. My mom probably would have been able to get me back because when she was good, she was good. But I didn't want to take that gamble. I was like, nah, like I'm good. I could just rock it out, you know? And that's what I did. So I was all cute. Before I was going to head over, I called Mrs. Peach, asked her if she needed me to like maybe bring anything, stop at the dollar store or anything on my way walking there, if she like needed anything. Right away, she like asks me if I know anybody that can dress up as a bunny for the kids. And I tell her, no, I don't, but I can definitely ask around. You never know. Sometimes you might get lucky, you know, ask a friend or something like, hey, does your uncle, you know, do this? Because I did have a friend who their dad dressed up as Santa. So I was like, you know what, maybe I'll ask. But I told her like, no, but I was still gonna ask anyways, just in case. I lowered the brightness. Let me know if this looks better or what I just did before. So I'm walking there and I'm feeling kind of cute. I'm like feeling myself. I'm like, okay, all right. You know, sometimes you would have those pep talks with yourself and you would tell yourself like, I need him. I don't need him. I don't need him and his freaking mom. I felt like I was in a throuple relationship, because if she was in a good mood, then everything was good. Or if she was pissed off, everything was just off. I was just really like in that mood, okay? So I walked through the door and I see Sam and we kind of just, you know that TikTok trend where like, what would you do if you walked in and you seen someone you don't like? So pretty much that was just like made for me in Baltimore and Sam, because literally when I walk in, we do the whole like stare down, like, sup, bitch. I walk in and you could just feel everything just like really hectic and everyone's just kind of like, on edge, getting everything ready. So Mrs. Peaches was going to have some friends over and some family over, and they were gonna do an Easter hunt in the backyard. So there was a lot that they had to do, and I guess more friends were coming than she anticipated. So she was like, we have to make sure there's enough eggs for everybody. They were doing the baskets, boiling some eggs, and filling up the plastic eggs. She asks me right away, like, hey, did you find anybody by chance? I tell her that I asked, but I don't know yet. Baltimore hears us talking and is like, how come you didn't ask me? Why didn't you ask me? You know, my boo, he likes to dress up and he can do it. He could do it. He could do it. Like, no problem. He could do it. Like, why didn't you ask me? Like, that's how she was talking, okay? And sometimes she would have some flavor when she would talk, and sometimes she just straight up sound stupid. So she was like, why didn't you ask me? And I remember thinking, like, she looked really cute, because I feel like a lot of you guys want me to describe them, and I feel like one of these days I probably will, or I do little skits so you can see how like maybe they would like talk and stuff. So she looked really cute. She looked really, really cute. She was rocking some red nails and her hair was all scrunched. Like, she just looked really cute and like just put together, like, oh, okay, you're Easter ready. Like, she just looked cute, you know? So I was just like looking at her while she was talking, and she like looks at me and she's like, what? Like, why didn't you say anything either? Like, you don't got a mouth? Boom, there you go. You killed it, bitch. And I was like, I'm gonna report to you. I don't work for you. I work, ooh, I was gonna say her name. I work for Peach, not for you. And so every time where it was like, I was starting to be like, oh, you're cute, or oh, I like you, boom, she would ruin it. Just like popped the bubble every time. Like, it never failed. Never failed. She would do something like, oh, there it is. There you are, bitch. There you are. She would always ruin it. Always. Anyways, we're kind of like bickering, going back and forth, and then Sam goes, yeah, if he can do it, let me know. Oh, what did I name this dumbass? I don't know. If he could do it, let me know. We can give him a little something, you know, dinero, money. And then Baltimore's making the call, right? She's like, pero like, how much? ¿Cuánto? I was just like, it's for the kids, bitch. It's for the kids. Like, what the fuck is he possibly doing? That immediately, because I already know how like Peaches was, you know, like, even though they like to spend a pretty penny, she was kind of like gorda at times, you know what I mean? And sometimes she was just like, and just she was rubbed wrong, and I could feel it. And she looks at her right away, and she's like, I don't know, how much do you think? She's like, no, más. I'm just asking, más. Like, she just wanted to know. She starts talking to him. She like tells him and stuff, like, yeah, like we, you know, the kids. She's gonna have her friends over, family, like, can you do it? You know, like talking to him. Come on, like, come on, amor, come on, baby. You know, like talking to him. Pretty sure he was like, nah, I don't wanna do it. I don't wanna do it. She's probably like, come on, babe, come on. Cause that's how she was like, she was talking all gangster, and then she was like, come on, babe, come on. Like, no one could dress up like better than you. Like, hyping him up, you know? I would really appreciate it. I'll make it up to you. You know, trying to like, get him to do it. Also, side note, because I feel like we don't really get a chismear a lot. Do you guys want to know the good days that I had there? Because I feel like not a lot of people would want to see like the good days, you know what I mean? I feel like it'd kind of be like boring, because it's like, that's just normal that they're supposed to do, like just being like nice, or like, you know, like giving me like a slice of like cheesecake, or thinking of me, or hey, I found this cute shirt, you know what I mean? But let me know. Anyways, she's talking to him, and I'm filling up the little like Easter baskets that they have, and I asked like, where's Mr. Peach? Mrs. Peach tells me like, oh, he's gonna be working late, he's gonna come later on, but he's probably gonna be really tired. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, all right, whatever. So we started getting everything ready. Mrs. Peach has a friend come over. We'll name her Ariel, because I have an Ariel palette right here. I just played with it the other day. Oh, beautiful. Check it out. Anyways, so Ariel, me and her, she was pretty cool. Like, I really liked her. Didn't really have any issues with her. Her and Baltimore could not stand each other, because they were both friends that she's had for like a long time. So they knew each other's business, and they would just kind of like diss each other and talk and just him and hawing about it. And I liked her because she didn't take no mess, and she was quick with the comebacks. Ay, puta. Really quick. And I just like that little feistiness about her. Ariel pops up, and she has her daughter with her, and Peaches is so happy to see her. She's like, oh my God, hey Ariel, like you're early. And Ariel was like, yeah, like I came to help, which I thought was cool, you know, because like we sometimes have those friends that were like, let me know if you need anything, I'll pull up. But they don't really pull up. They'd be like, oh, like, oh, no, like, no, it's fine. No, I can be there. But yeah, I just had to do some things. And you said the party was at 4. And when I asked you last time, yeah, no, I could be there. No, my manicure. No, are you sure? Okay. So I'll see you at 4:30. Then you have those friends where they're just like, what time the party start? 4:30. All right, I'll be there at 1 and I'll help you set up. You want a coffee? You have those type of friends, you know? So Ariel was that type of friend, which I messed with because I'm like, And me and Ariel were actually friends on Facebook. And she's just so dope. I really like her. She's like, oh yeah, like I wanted to help, you know, and Mrs. Peach is like happy, gets her a little mimosa ready, and right away, you can just see Baltimore is like, oh, like her freaking culo is like that, okay? Because a couple of days ago, Ariel had came over and she and Mrs. Peach were drinking and they were talking, and I was helping fold some clothes with Baltimore, and all we heard was, I told you that bitch was dirty. And so right away I just looked at Baltimore and I'm like, they talking about you, like a big ass smile. Because who else she gonna be talking about? She gonna talk about her. She was just she didn't even say hi Baltimore, nothing. She looks over, she's like, oh hi Sam, you look so big, baby, you look so cute. And she's like, come here, come give me a hug. Sam hugs her, and just like a good hug too, like just like she just like girl, you know, hugged her good. And she sees me and she like doesn't even like, hey girl, no nothing. She should have just turns me around. I seen her in the mirror. She turns me around and just like gives me a big old hug, and she's like, hey baby. And so she was just really, really sweet, super sweet. Like one time she seen me walking, she gave me a ride before she dropped me off home. She was like, you want something to eat? You look hungry. And I was like, I do, huh? And so she fed me. She was just really cool. She wasn't around all the time, but when she was around, she was really cool, and it was always a good time. And she was just nice, you know? She was just really nice. And she was that friend where it's like, that's the friend that you want around. That's the friend that you want your babies to call tia, you know? Okay, so enough hyping up Ariel. So they're drinking their mimosas. She doesn't even pay attention to Baltimore. She's like, bitch. Doesn't pay attention to her. She starts right away just kind of taking over and helping out the baskets. Baltimore was trying to do like a cute little bow on the baskets, and Ariel was like, no, let's do it like this because we're gonna be wasting more. And Sam was like, oh, okay, like just following along. And so Baltimore was kind of like, why are you listening, you know? And it was just so cute because it was just like one of those moments where I feel bad saying it, but I liked when Baltimore would get punked on because she was so rude, you know? So Ariel looked really cute too. She looked Easter ready. She had some like big, you know? So they were very, like, you walk in the room and you're not being disrespectful, but you just like do a glance like, oh, you know, cause like she didn't cover them up. Like she always said like she looked like she had like a toddler on her chest because like that's how long her crack was. Like she didn't like hiding them because, you know, like why should she? So it would kind of, but they paid no mind, you know? And so Baltimore is talking to Peach, kind of trying to like be quiet, but we can hear her. And she goes like, you're gonna let her wear that? Like there's gonna be kids around. Like, no mames. Like just trying to like talk on Ariel. And Ariel is like doing the baskets and stuff. And she's like, if you want to say something, say something. She's like, if you feel insecure, just say that. And Baltimore's like, I'm not insecure. Yo, no, I'm not insecure. She's like, but there's going to be husbands around, boyfriends around, and they're going to be looking. Ariel said that, like, you know, if it becomes too much, that she has a sweater, like, it's no big deal. She's like, it's because of your boyfriend. You don't want your boyfriend to look at me because you're insecure. And that's how she would talk to her, like if she was a child. And it was funny because who else would do that shit? Baltimore. She would do this and she would do this. And so she had someone else on her lane of, you know, but with a little bit more sass, with a little bit more of a, She's just making a big deal about it. And right away you see Baltimore like, and right away I'm thinking like, oh, she's texting her boo. She's probably like, don't come through. Cause I don't know. They always say you do something nasty, sometimes it comes back. And Baltimore would be dressing scandalous sometimes. Even though Miss Peach would tell her like, you know, like cover up or something like that. You don't have to, because a man, if he respects you, he will not be like, oh my God, you know what I mean? But she asked her and she'd be like, no, oh my God, if he looks, that's on him, you know? And it's just like, it's like a respect thing. And then it's like a very like fuzzy line of like where it lies and all that, you know? Me, I'm just like, if you want to wear a tanga, okay. If you want to look up, okay, you know? And if like my dude is over there like, bye, like that's on him of like how he wants to act, I feel, you know what I mean? Because we've been to like nudist beaches and like seen people, or you know what I mean, and it's a thing of like, oh, like a quick glance like, oh my bad, or whatever, you know. And that's another like, you're gawking and you're looking and you're dripping and oh my God, you know, it's a whole different thing. Anyways, besides the point. I just expect myself, okay? They're kind of going back and forth and just like kind of bitching about like, I think you should, you know, kind of cover up. And so she's like texting and I'm thinking like, oh, she's telling her dude not to come. Ariel sees that she's texting because she's like super loud because she got those nails and she's all, you know, she's like, oh my God, don't tell him not to come because what I'm wearing. Baltimore looks at her, ¿qué? No. I'm not telling him that. She's like, he's gonna come as the Easter bunny. Maybe. That's what she said, maybe. Ariel's like, you know. So I'm like, okay, whatever. They're like going at it. Okay. I have to take something upstairs because Mrs. Peach asks me like, hey, Alexis, can you take this up? I'm like, oh yeah, I can take it up. So I'm gonna go upstairs with it. And then Sam tries to tag along. She's like, oh, I'll go with you. And I just look at her like, why? Because I'm still not happy with her. And even though my homegirl Skillet drenched her, she was still texting back the ex and stuff when he'd be like, oh, hey, what's up? Even though, again, that's on him and that's on me pendeja también because I was right there. It was just still like, So I'm like, why? And she's like, oh, I just want to keep you company, you know? And Ariel was like, Alexis, don't be nasty, you know? She was someone where it's like, respect your elders, because I did respect her, you know? So I was like, okay, you know, smiling at her, okay. And so, you know, she goes with me upstairs and she's like talking to me and telling me like, oh, like, are you gonna go anywhere today? You gonna do anything cool with your friends? And I'm like, and if I do, you're not going. And she's like, come on, like, don't be like that. Like, I already said sorry. I'm like, okay, but you're still texting him. She's like, no, he'll text me and he'll be like, oh, hey, what are you doing? And I'll be like, nothing. I'm like, dude, that's still texting him, but okay, whatever, you know? And so she was just telling me that like, she's just super bored and she just wants to go home already. And she doesn't feel like she's gonna go home anytime soon because Baltimore keeps telling her mom that she'll still be acting up and getting crazy. And I guess Baltimore pretty much told her like, you're not gonna leave until we like get along or have some sort of friendship, because that's just what's gonna happen. And Sam was like, I don't wanna form no type of relationship with that bitch. And I was like, but why? You basically twins. She was just telling, oh, puta. And so she was telling me like, all right, I deserve that, whatever. We put what we need to put away. We go back downstairs and in comes an Easter bunny, tall as hell. And I'm thinking like, oh, okay. I don't want to spoil it. It's Mr. Peach, okay? But we don't know that. I'm thinking it's Baltimore's boyfriend. So I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, pendejo? Hey, what's up? Doesn't say anything back, does the... And that makes me so mad. How come when someone's wearing a costume, they feel like they act like they can't talk? Like, dude, you're not gonna break character. Say hello back. Hello, say it back. Because then you start freaking out and you're like, oh my God, like, is he gonna kill me? Like, you feel, I don't know, maybe I watched too many scary movies back in the day, but this goes like that, okay? So we go back into the kitchen and we're getting some of the baskets that have eggs and we're gonna go hide them. Sam sees Baltimore and she's like, hey, your boo's here, he showed up. She's like, really? She's like, he hasn't been texting me back. So she's like, I'm gonna go say hi. So she goes over there and we see her hug the bunny, you know, and we see her like putting her hand on his chest, on his bunny chest, like, oh, thank you so much. I love you, talking to him, and he's not saying anything. And I think about it now, and I'm like, you know what you were doing. And he just like kind of like puts his hands on her shoulder and just moves her and like walks towards, you know, where we are and stuff. And he sees Mrs. Peach, and he does this stupid ass, doesn't talk, doesn't pop his head off, nada. And I'm like, I'm getting irritated. I feel like as a child, I was always getting irritated, like super bad. Like when I talk to my mom, I'm like, is it normal to get that mad? Sam's all annoyed too, because she's like, why doesn't he say nothing? I'm like, I don't know. Like I really hate when people play stupid. Like, and that's what I said without even knowing, okay? Without even knowing. Mrs. Peach has her phone on the counter, and people start showing up, and she tells me like, Alexis, can you go put my stuff upstairs? I'm like, yeah. Baltimore has her purse, and she's like, hey, mine too, you know? And Ariel asks me like, oh yeah, mija, can you put mine up too? See how different that is? Oh yeah, mine too. Versus, yeah, mija, mine too, please. You know, nice. Okay? Nice. So I do Ariel's and I do Peach's. Baltimore. I don't give a fuck about your shit. So I leave her stuff there, and Sam can do that. That's your sister. She can do that for you. I don't work for you. I work for her. And me and Ariel, we are cool. So I go put her stuff upstairs. I, you know, just look in the mirror, looking a little cute. I was like, okay, I look cute, whatever. And I make my way downstairs. I run into the bunny again, and he's kind of like blocking my way, like trying to do like, you know how people play with you, like, oh, you can't pass, oh, you can't pass, you know? And since a lot of things did happen to me at a young age, my guard was always like up. Like I don't play that. I don't. And people would always be like, oh, you're such a bitch. Like, no, I'm not. I just don't like when people think like they're being cute and stuff. And if something makes you feel uncomfortable, that's not you being a bitch. Like at school, a lot of the boys would be like, oh, she's so stuck up, because like I wouldn't let them like put their tongue down my throat. I wouldn't let them like grip on my ass or like do things that like other people were doing. And they're like, yeah, like, like she's not even fun. She's so uptight. Don't be like, oh, he doesn't think I'm cool, I should let him. No, because that, no. That's not cool. If someone really likes you, they don't pressure you to do stuff or make you feel bad or tell you like, you're not cool if you don't let me do this. Like your balls haven't even dropped. Get the fuck out of my face. Like don't ever let anybody intimidate you like that. And my mom would always talk to me and tell me things like that, you know, that like, oh, wait, mija, or you know, don't let anyone do this or don't let me do that. And so I feel like when I would talk, I would have like grown sass. And so it would come off probably a little bit harsher than I wanted, but it would get my point across. And a lot of people, I shouldn't even say people because it's boys. A lot of boys would put me as an uptight bitch. Like, like she's not even cool, dude. Like, nah, like I try to kiss her, you know, and put like, no. And she was like, fucking bitch, dude. That's how they would talk. And it's like, I'm right here. Like, really? Like, okay. And that's just how it was. And I felt bad a lot of the times because friends or like my cousins and stuff would be like, oh my God, like it's not that deep. Then why are you making a big deal about it then if it's not that deep? Okay, you just said it, it's not that deep. So why are you making me feel like it is? I can't just say no. So if you don't like something and it makes you feel uncomfortable and your face shows it, doesn't make you a bitch. You're just, I don't like that. Don't play with me like that. If she likes to be played with like that and she likes that, go himini-ha over there, not over here. Sorry. So we're doing the whole back and forth, okay? I know sometimes I ramble on, but we're talking. We're chismeando. Anyway, so we're doing the whole back and forth, and I'm like, because I'm just like, dude, like it's too much. Like if I have to do it more than, like it's not funny no more, you know? And so then he puts his little hands up like, okay, and walks back down. So I'm like, okay. So I go downstairs and Sam sees that I'm going to leave. I started my monthly and I have to change. Like I have to change clothes, all of that. I tell Mrs. Peach like, hey, I gotta go. Sam hears and she's like, where are you going? I wanna go. You're gonna go with your friends? I wanna go with your friends. And I'm like, no, like I'm not gonna take her, period. Like I'm not gonna take you anywhere. Ariel hears and she's like, oh, how come you just don't let her use some pants or anything like that? Tells Mrs. Peach, and Mrs. Peach looks at her like, oh no, I don't think we're the same. we probably would have been, but she's just like acts like, oh, she probably don't want me to wear her expensive clothes, you know, which is fine. She doesn't owe me anything, okay? Like, I know sometimes people are like, no, she could have been nice. She could have, she should have, but she didn't have. So, and I, you know, it's cool. It's fine. Like, I get it, you know? It's cool. I didn't take anything to heart. It's okay. So Peach is like, oh, look, you know, she probably wouldn't fit into like my clothes or anything. And Ariel looks at her and she's like, get my ladies, eh? Like telling her like, you're rude, you know that, you know? And so I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm like, it's fine. I have to change it anyways. And no, it's okay. Like, you know, trying to always just like, it's cool. And so Ariel is like, no, like, I don't want you to leave. Sam, don't you have clothes that she could fit into? And Sam's like, yeah, I mean, but I guess like she's trying to like, it seems like you want to leave, huh? Ariel was like, you don't want to share, or are you trying to go with her? Like, which one is it? Like, she already said she's not going to take you. And Sam was like, yeah, I got clothes. And so I'm like, I don't like being pitied. I hate being pitied, because there's been some times where like I feel where people have taken pity on me, and then it just feels nasty. Like, you don't want the help because it's just like you feel like a burden, you know? And so I was like, nah, it's good. Like, I need to change and I need to check in, whatever, you know, just lying. And Ariel can see it and she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, like, I'm sure. And it's so crazy because I do have an Ariel in my life and she's very similar to her, which is crazy. So anyways, I leave. Sam is like, I'm gonna head out with you because I'm gonna go that way. I have to go to that Rite Aid. And I'm like, okay, whatever, but like, you're not going with me. Like, you're not. She's like, okay. So we're walking and she's like telling me, dude, isn't my sister's boyfriend like hella creepy? I'm like, right? He's like stupid. We're like making fun of like how he was like, you know, like whatever. I was like, yeah, when I was coming down the stairs, like he would not move. And she's like, oh my God, yes. He kept like getting in my way. And I kept telling him like, excuse me. And I guess he was still like, and would not move, you know? So we're just kind of like talking about that. And she's telling me that like if she can just wait outside and I can just run with her to Rite Aid real quick. And she's like, I don't like going places by myself, you know, like anything can happen. And I felt that, okay? I was like, you know what? You're lucky I watched Lifetime, bitch. You're lucky. I didn't really care that she knew where I lived, you know, or that it was his house. Cause I'm like, regardless, he's gonna cheat if he wants to. He's gonna cheat if I look this way, if I look that way, he's gonna cheat and he did. So it didn't matter what I did. It doesn't matter how much you try to prevent someone from cheating on you. If they want to, they will. Whether it be in the car, whether it be at your house, their house, the hotel, the workplace, it does not matter. If a man wants to cheat on you or a woman, they will cheat. Period. Point blank. And I feel like not a lot of people understand that, because me too, I was very like, nah, like they couldn't do that. If they want to, they will. Promise you. And I feel like not that many people understand that, you know? We're like, how could they? He was working. Bitch, he can't take a break. They can't go into the break room. They can't go here. They can't go there. They can't do this. They can't do... If he wants to, he will. Point, period, point blank. So before anyone tells me like, why would you take her to the house? Because I already had learned it. Like, it didn't matter. Like, this dude had me in the house one time. He was in the car with some other girl. It does not matter at all. Before I went off. I go in real quick. No one's home. I change, come right back out. And so we head out to Rite Aid. And I'm laughing because I'm like reminiscing with her about like what happened, you know? And she's like telling me like, dude, that was so embarrassing. Like, she's never had that happen to her. We're heading back and we can kind of hear some loud like talking. And right away, I know it's Ariel. And she's like telling someone, shut the, we know how you are, shut up, shut up. And you can hear Baltimore saying, oh my God, I did that one time and now you guys can't let it go. One time. So we go in and we can see like everyone, like friends and family. You have Baltimore, you have Peach, and you have Ariel at that table. And they're kind of just like, you know, BSing, talking really loud. Ariel sees me and she's like, oh my God, hey, you know, tells me to sit down. She's like, here, sit down right here. Ariel is so freaking sweet. Baltimore is like, no, go sit over there with the kids. Ariel holds onto my thigh like, nah, like you ain't going holds onto my thigh and just smiles, and she kind of just gave me like that motherly vibe, and I was just like, I hate when I get emotional because I hate getting emotional. So she was just really sweet, just holding on to like my thigh and stuff and just like smiling like, oh, you look really pretty. And she was like telling me that like if I needed to go with her to the store later to go get more, you know, pads or anything, and I was like, no, I'm okay. She's like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? You know, just checking in with me. And I was just like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, because I was okay. Like I did have it, you know, and if I didn't, I probably wouldn't have told her anyways. But it was just still cool that she was like, you good? You know, she's like laughing with me, telling me and stuff that pretty much what they were talking about. She's like, can you believe it? This freaking pendeja thinks that just because she, you know, would do grimy shit in high school, that we don't believe that she would do it now. And I'm like, huh? Like I didn't understand what was going on, you know? Baltimore gets pissed that Ariel is telling me like some chisme that like, I guess she did when she was young and stuff. I'm like, huh? Because I don't understand what's going on. And like, not gonna lie, they sound kind of tipsy already, you know? And I'm like, huh? And she's like, no. She's trying to shut her up. Baltimore's like, no. Like, she don't wanna hear it, right? And so Ariel says and stuff that I guess Baltimore was messing with Mrs. Peach's boyfriend at the time. And I guess she was testing to see if he was going to cheat. And right away, it's just like immediate reaction where I was like, I went like that. I was like, and then Ariel's like, right, right. That's what we said too, you know? And Baltimore's just mad. Sam looks at her like she has the nerve, the audacity to judge, like, oh my, you're so fucking embarrassing, dude. Like that. And Baltimore is just pissed, drinking her drink like this. I didn't even put it down to take to take another sip. She was just like, don't like, so embarrassed, right? So she gets up and she's all annoyed. So she makes her way to the bunny and she's like putting her hand on the bunny, talking to the bunny, right? And the bunny is like just kind of like chilling with the kids, but not really. He has like a little like mouth opening. It's like very like, I don't know, it's like very tiny, but it's like dark at the same time, so you can't really see like a face or anything. I'm not trying to justify what she's about to do. Okay, so he heads over and he's gonna go get drinks, and he has like this cup and it has a straw, and you can see him like taking a sip. She's like talking to the bunny, and she reaches down and like does that move, you know, where you're like, she's feeling the carrot, you know, and he like puts his hand on her shoulder and kind of just kindly moves her out of the way. I don't know if it's because it's Mr. Peach or because there's kids around and he's probably like, nah, here, bitch. But she was filling all up on the carrots, you know, and radishes. Right away, Mrs. Peach sees it too, like side view, you know, and she was like, she like, really? Like here, like she can't just wait till they get back to his house. Like, oh my God, like, no tiene, like, qué vergüenza. You know, talking. Ariel is like, get it? Shoot, she ain't dead. Like, she, you know what I'm saying? Like, she wasn't always like constantly on her, but she was cool, you know? We both, all three, well, not both, all four of us all, because Sam too was like, so there's a ring at the door. And so we look over. We all look at each other like, you go get it. No, you go get it. And as the time, I was like, you know, you go get it. You go get it. The bunny had went into like a little corner. He didn't probably think we couldn't see him, but we could see him. And she's still like, you know, doing some stuff. And she's just like, oh, probably like, oh, they hate me. They're like talking about me, like things that I did. And like, I haven't changed. And just like, cause that's how she looks. That's how her face looks. And we're like kind of making fun of her. And Ariel's kind of mimicking, like, she probably over there like, oh my God, like they know how I am. Like, cause when Baltimore would whine, she would kind of sound like that. Like, I don't know why, like the Kardashians, but like on auto tune. Okay. The doorbell rings again. And we're like, Ariel kind of nudges me like, go get it, mija, yeah? You know? So I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Cause it is my job, but I was getting comfortable cause I was with Mrs. Ariel. And so I get up and there's a bunny. Dun, dun, dun! There's a bunny. We open the door. Well, I open the door, not what's this wee shit. I open the door and I'm like, hey. Cause I'm like confused. Like we already got a bunny, you know? I was like, I didn't know what to say. And even now when I try to like go back in my head, like, what should you have said? Because it was just one of those like, that you yeah, like you don't know what to say. This bunny looked a lot different than the other bunny. Like I'm not trying to be mean. I swear. Te lo juro. I'm not. I promise. This bunny looked like he been through it. You know? Like he been through it. So, you hear my panza? She's talking now. He takes off his head. Okay? That was kind of like dramatic. And it's Voldemort's boyfriend. And I look behind me. I just see Ariel's mouth like, and she's looking at Peach because of her man's is at the door. Your man's is getting his carrot felt up. Well, right? And he was like, "You're not gonna let me in?" Holding his head. I'm like, "Yeah, come on. Come on. Let's go find your girlfriend." Come on, buddy. Sam is like looking at me like, oh my God. Mrs. Peach gets up. And I'm thinking, you're gonna go and get your mans. And you're gonna go and tell him like, hey, what's up? But family was there, right? And I'm pretty sure some family members seen her do the whole carrot thing, okay? Because like, I feel like there's sometimes where you kind of like touch your spouse, you know, whatever. And they're like, very like, grab a little boobage, a little booty, a little something. Sometimes family seems, sometimes family doesn't, whatever, you know? The carrot thing's a whole nother thing. Like, that's too far. Because no one's like over there grabbing some coochie. She gets up, she has a drink, and she walks inside. I'm like, oh my God, like why? Like, oh my gosh, why? So Sam gets annoyed. Ariel is like, Peach, gets up and is going to go follow her. I'm just like, okay. Sam meets me and she, you know, grabs the boyfriend. She's like, let's go find my sister, you know, like all excited, like, let's go get the bitch. So she walks him over. Voldemort is by the rabbit, but like this time, and like just talking to him like this, like, you know, like she wasn't like grabbing his carrot the whole time. So this time she's like, you know, like, oh yeah, just talking to him, like whatever, you know. And so I join Sam to go and deliver the other bunny. We scream Voldemort's name, and I scream Mr. Peach with attitude, because I'm like, that's not cool. Like, I don't care. Maybe if y'all have something, y'all do a little throuple here and there, whatever. Okay, because like I don't care what y'all might have. Like, it's disrespectful. There's a time and there's a place, and it doesn't seem like Mrs. Peach is okay with it. She just seems like the type that doesn't like confrontation sometimes, you know, sometimes. So I scream Mrs. Peach's name, and he turns around like quick, and then the bunnies are out face to face, you know? And he's like, oh, you know, she told me that like you guys needed a bunny, that's why I came. Like, I wouldn't have got dressed up and blah, 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 blah. Baltimore's face is like huge. I don't know if she didn't think the boyfriend was coming and he was like, no, I'm not gonna do that for you. And she just looks, wow. And she looks at Mr. Peach, and now he starts talking. And I'm like, how annoying. Like, how annoying. Like, the whole time we're trying to talk to you and just being a creep the whole time. Like, I thought right away about the stairs. I'm like, why you gotta do that creepy shit? Like, so I'm like annoyed. Sam is like, oh, so you can talk. So you were just being annoying. Oh, okay, so you just like people touching your carrots and stuff, and like you're not gonna say anything. The other bunny's like, carrots? Like, what? But the other word, right? He's like, what? What happened? Right away, Baltimore looks at Sam and she's like, yeah, cállate. Like, pissed, right? A little spit came out, a little bowl, a little everything. Yeah, cállate. Like that kid, like, shut up. Like, telling her, and he was like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, you know, trying to get like the 401, and Sam tells boyfriend, like, yeah, she was over here grabbing up on his carrot. Mr. Peach is like, no, like that, like, no. Because I bet you anything, he would have got his culo handed to him. They had that little like, no. Sam grabs her boyfriend, the bunny, and she's like, come on, let's go with the kids. And she's like, guys, look, there's 2 bunnies. And all the kids are like, what? You know, going a little crazy. So Mr. Peach goes inside with his bunny looking ass. He goes inside and takes off his head. And I'm just thinking the whole time, like, what a grimy ass son of a gun. Like, okay, so now you can talk. Now you take your head off. You're so weird. Like, I'm just annoyed. So I follow as well. So does Sam and go inside. I'm going to go check on Mrs. Peach because I really didn't like how she just got up. And I don't know if it was just like a sign of like defeat, where you're just like, what can I do? Like, family's here. I don't want to throw a scene. It's embarrassing. My friend's here. Like, you know, I didn't know what it was. I couldn't really read her all the time. Like, not all the time could I read her. So I go inside and her and Ariel are just taking shots. Taking shots, throwing them back like nothing. And I ask her, like, oh, you're okay? Do you need anything? She's like, nope, I'm fine. She's like, did you see that we have 2 bunnies now? I'm like, yep, I see that. You know, like, we were there. Like, yeah, we all saw that. Ariel looks at me and just gives me a face of like, you know, like, they take their shots. I see the bunny's head in the sala. And so I'm like, okay, he's not here. So I wonder if he left or like what's going on or what. The day goes on. The party dies down. Everyone starts to leave. I go to the restroom and it's next to like another room, kind of like office. The walls are like thin, like you can hear. So like if someone's bumping and grinding, you can hear everything. And I can hear Mr. Peach on the phone. And he sounds kind of irritated. I don't know who he's talking to, but he was saying like, yeah, I'm gonna tell her that, yeah. I was saying in character because of for the kids. Yeah, I'm gonna tell her that, yeah, because she always be doing that. Pretty much probably talking to a homeboy or his mom, like, yeah, it's not my fault she touched my carrot. Yeah, I'm gonna tell her that. I'm gonna tell her that, like, I was just in character, blah, 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 blah. And so the whole time I'm just like, washing my hands, listening. We get out of the rooms the same time. So he sees that I'm in that room and he knows too that I could probably hear him, you know. Right away, he brings up the incident on the stairs and he was like, hey, my bad, I was just playing with you by the stairs. I don't know, like you look kind of mad, like, ¿estás enojada con mí? Like, are you mad at me? I just look at him and I'm like, no. Like, just, my face says it all. Like, I'm disappointed in you, dude. Like, I'm disappointed in you. He's like, like, you look like it. Like, you look good. And at times too, when he would kind of like, you know, drink, and he would get like this really thick accent and he like thought it was just gonna like it was gonna like smooth over everything. And it like, no, that ain't smoothing over naya. So Sam sees that we're talking and comes over and she puts her elbow on me like that, you know? And it's like, what we're talking about. I'm still not cool with you. Like, get your hand off of me. So I look at her and I'm like, move. Like, why are you on me? So Mr. Peach asks Sam if Mrs. Peach is making a big deal. He's like, she over there making a big deal about it? Because he knows, like, bitch, we all saw you. We know, we know, you know? And she looks at him like we're not cool either, you know? So she looks at him and she's like, how is she making a big deal about it? Like, what do you mean? Like, you and my sister continue to do this. And he's like, and just walks past us. Like, he didn't want to hear what she had to say. He like shut it down quick. Like, shh, I ain't trying to hear it. Be quiet. Like, just cut it off. And I look at her and I'm like, look, I don't like you, but I got questions. And so she's like, shoot. And I'm like, what's going on between them? What you see is what's going on between them. I was like, no, I mean, like, is there like a whole ass relationship? What's the 411? Like, what's going on? So I was pretty much asking her, like, just tell me, like, what's up? Like, I hate how I always feel like there's this weird tension. It didn't start really happening until, like, you came around, and now I'm starting to piece, like, little things here and there. I'm like, that's not normal. Mr. Peach and Baltimore going to the store by themselves, that's not normal. Or, like, you know, just, like, little things here and there. And she pretty much was just, like, read the room, and I'm like, I am reading it, like, clarify it for me. So I just get annoyed and I'm like, okay, whatever. So I walk away. The party, like I said, was dying down. Everyone's leaving. There's like a couple kids left, kind of like not kids, they're like teens, right? And they're like with their parents. And Mrs. Peach is like entertaining the parents and we're all talking. I always think that they were like my age. They were like my age, and I always feel like I was always grown just because I feel like I had to like grow up really quick, right? So we're just talking and they're like, yo, did you see that the bunny and that chick over there with the fat ass was in the garage? And we're like, Mr. Peach, because we know we can identify the different kind of bunnies now. Mr. Peach and Baltimore were in the garage. We're in the garage, I guess at a point period time. I don't know if it's like when we were upstairs or when we went to go get the girls. I don't know. So we were just listening, me and Sam were just like listening really close. They were saying that like the girl with the fat culo went into the garage and she came out and her hair was all messed up. They're like, dang, Mr. Bunny getting it. So I was just like getting rubbed all kinds of like, okay. We see Baltimore come in with her bunny. And she's like, thanks, babe. Oh my God, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. She's walking him. He's like walking with his head and stuff, like his head on his side because took the bunny head off. And he's like, bye, saying bye to Mrs. Peach and stuff. They leave. Mrs. Peach asks like, oh, what are you guys talking about? Because we're kind of like laughing at some, no, we weren't laughing about like what happened in the garage, but we're kind of like just hemming and hawing and we're like laughing just about like, you know, like kid shit, whatever. And Mrs. Peach asks like, what are you guys laughing about? One of the kids is like, oh, that lady who just left was in the garage with the bunny, but not that bunny, it was a different bunny. Yeah, they were in there for a long time. Peach is just like, oh. Ariel is looking at me and I'm just like, like, it's just one of those like, why are you looking at me? Like, it wasn't me. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So finally, everyone leaves. The only ones who are left in the house is Sam, me, Ariel, Peach, and Mr. Peach. Mr. Peach comes down, looks like he had just taken a shower. His hair is kind of wet and stuff. And at this point, Mrs. Peach is kind of tipsy, like super tipsy. Sam was sneaking some shots here and there too, so she was kind of buzzing it too. Ariel is already like up there with Peach. And so Ariel is just kind of like, no tienes vergüenza, like why? Like, you know, you're not embarrassed. She's like, you embarrassed Peach today. And he goes, like, I don't want to hear it. Like, whatever, that's between me and my wife. Like, I don't want to hear it. I'm just going to get a beer. I'm going to go upstairs and you guys can do whatever you guys were doing. Peach is like, no, like, we need to talk about it. Like, I can't believe you did that today. Like, how come you didn't say anything? And he wants to say, like, with like a blank face, I was in character. Didn't you see? I put my hand on her. I moved her out of the way. You need to talk to her. She doesn't know boundaries. Like, don't talk to me because I didn't do nothing. And she's like, oh, well, the little chamacos were saying that you were in the garage. He's like, what? No, that was the other bunny, not me. They're like, no. And Ariel's like, no. They said it was you. Like, you two bunnies don't look the same. They said it was you, like really drunk. Sam is like, yup, I believe it. He looks at Sam and he tells Sam to like, shut up. He's like, don't say anything, shut up. Like, just looks at her like that and just has like this dad face, like this stern like dad face. This face that a lot of people know that dads do. And so I'm like, okay, hold the fuck up, hold the hell up. Just like watching everything, and Ariel's looking at me, and I think Ariel can see that like the little hamster in my head is like, you know, it's going. So it just becomes like a lot of like just fighting, and I'm just like really putting everything together. I tell Peach, like, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get going. Is there anything you need me to do? I already helped clean up. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready, like, annoyed. I'm pissed for Mrs. Peach because it's like, dude, do something. Like, do something. Like, oh man, like, whoops on my ass. And me, I was looking at Ariel too, like, why didn't you get her? But it comes to the point where it's like, you want to stick up for your homegirl, you want to, you know, do the most and get in like their man's face and stuff, but like, if they're still gonna be sitting there chilling, what are you doing? So Ariel's like, oh, I'll take you home, Miha. And I'm like, okay. Sam asks if she can go, and I'm like, I'm going home. Ariel's going home. Like, no. So she was like, come on, please, like, I just want to go. I'm like, no, like, I'm going home. Like, you're not going to go with me. Like, no. So we kind of just stayed there for a minute talking. We're over here. Peach and Mr. Peach are over here like fighting, whatever. Sam is like, please, like, I don't want to be here. Like, my sister left. Like, she ain't gonna be here. And I feel uncomfortable. And then I'm like, no, like, talking with her, like, I'm not going to. Sam out loud goes, but I'm really uncomfortable. I don't want to stay here alone like that. Okay. Ariel looks at Peach, and then Peach is like, Alexis, why don't you spend the night? And she looks at me and she's like, please, like I would really appreciate that. Please. Like just looks at me and I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm like, okay. So I text, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be spending the night at my mom's, because if I was saying that I was spending the night with this family, me and him would have started fighting, because he would be like, you're probably cheating, you're probably doing this, you're probably doing that. So it's just like, I'm gonna be with my mom found a place and I'm gonna stay with her for the night. Do the whole checking in. I say bye to Ariel. Thanks, girl. You're a real one. She didn't end up leaving. She ended up staying too. She was sitting on the couch and then she ended up just knocking out. So me and Sam, we were getting ready for bed because I'm like, dude, I'm tired. I am super tired. Like me and Sam were talking and I was telling her like, dude, like I have a feeling like something else is going on between your sister and Mr. Peach. And this bitch says, yeah, I think he's my dad. And that's where I'm gonna leave it at because it's already been a hot, long minute. So stay tuned because it gets super freaking juicy. And as I was reading my diary again, I was like, oh, I forgot about that incident. Oh, I forgot about that. It gets good. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys like story times, please give this a big thumbs up. Comment down below and share the video with other people who love some story times. I love you guys so freaking much. I really do. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the constant support you guys show me on my platforms. It doesn't go unnoticed. I really truly appreciate it. I love you guys very much. And I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Let me know what you guys are doing. Oh, I forgot to ask you guys at the beginning. Let me know what you were doing this whole time when you're watching the story time. I want to know. Were you eating? Were you driving somewhere? What chores were you doing? Let me know. I would love to know down below. I love you guys so much. Besos a todos, and I'll have an update soon. I promise. It'll be a good one. Let me know. Let me know if you guys like the weekly story times or if I should do at least 2 story times a week. I have a lot of questions for y'all, so I hope you guys are answering them down below. I don't mind. If you guys are answering or talking with me throughout the video and commenting, I don't mind. I know there's a lot of people like, oh, I hope you, there's like 6 comments that left you. I hope you don't mind. I love it. I love it because it makes me feel like you really like, you know, back and forth. So again, I love you guys. Besos a todos, and I'll see you guys in my next story time. Bye. Oh, and the look. I love it. Love you guys.